Hello, Stephanie here from Space of Love. I'm going to show you a brief movement practice I like to call stirring the heart. Essentially, the heart rests in the space of the upper spine or the thoracic cavity. And this is a space that is sometimes difficult to move. Sometimes it's really easy to find mobility in the low back, but here in the upper spine we can be very restricted in our movement. So today we're going to look at the three-dimensional possibility of movement in and around the heart space, essentially the thoracic cavity or upper spine and chest. And so to start, bring your fingertips to the center of your chest, right where your sternum bone sits. And from here, simply let this space, almost as though you could push it back in space. I'm going to turn around so you can have a better idea of the nuance of this. But if your fingertips are right on the sternum here, and the rest of the spine is staying relatively upright, and then there's a pushing in of the sternum. And then imagine your sternum, the upper chest, could push back against your fingertips and let it push back. We're going to do this a few times. Pushing in, so understanding a little bit of forward flexion, and then pushing to resist the fingertips, exploring a little bit of extension. Try this a few times. In, out, in. At the same time, we're trying to contain the low ribs. So we don't want to puff the whole spine out, but we're really isolating the movement here in the space of the upper chest. And it might be so subtle to start. We'll try this a few times. You might decide to explore how the breath feels as you move and how the breath moves. Good. And then from here, we're going to take the hands to the sides of the upper ribs. And we're going to see if we can move just the ribs side to side. Now you can do this seated or you can do it standing. I'm doing it seated for ease of filming, but we'll try it standing in a moment. So for this, we want to imagine your rib cage, the upper rib cage, could simply slide from side to side. And so there's a little bit of a move to the right, a little bit of a move to the left. Start subtle. Your shoulders stay relatively on the same plane, so we're not finding arching, nor are we rotating, but simply a slide, side to side. This might feel funny at first. This is a movement that is relatively new to most of us. And so exploring that side to side, opening up of awareness here in the side body. Good. And then we're going to try to knit that all together. I'm going to do this standing. I'm going to stand with my feet relatively hip width, maybe even slightly wider. I'm going to take the arms wide, so I'm reaching and extending with the fingertips. And then I'm going to explore this movement of the chest going forward, side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, forward. Noticing my head is staying relatively neutral. My hips and pelvis are staying relatively neutral. And I'm just exploring movement here in the upper thoracic cavity. This three-dimensional stirring of the heart space. I'm going to turn around so you can see from a different angle. So it's forward, side, back, side, forward, side, back, side, and forward. We can also try this in the opposite direction. So moving forward to the other side first, back, side, forward. If it helps, you can bring your hands to your ribs to feel the movements. So remember, we have that pushing forward of the sternum, the slide, the drawing back, the slide, and then the pushing forward. Let's try it one more time together. Forward, left, back, right, forward. Good. And then release the arms and give everything a little wiggle. So that was a relatively short practice, but if you do this for just a few minutes every day, you'll start to open up a little bit more fluidity and ease of movement in and around the heart space in the thoracic spine. And I promise you, your spine, your heart, your chest, your whole body mind will thank you for it.